Hey everybody, this is Steve
Woo!
Galata with with a very excited Isabella of Sister Cell. Isabella, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited.
Good, good, good. It's a bit raining on our end, and I'm okay with that though, because it's just 2 days before Halloween over here, and whatchamacallit, we plan on watching some horror movies, so the weather is perfect for that.
Nice, nice. What
You
movies are you thinking you're gonna watch?
we've I just bought this fake mockumentary called Ghost Watch. And we watched it a few years back, and basically, I think it was in the '90s. The BBC held this fake documentary where in between segments of it, they always said, "Hey, this is fake. This isn't real." But in between, it was the actual news anchor and his team basically going into like a haunted house, and like some sort of curse or ritual was going on. So all these people throughout, England, they just like tuned into the show just to see what was happening, and they thought it was real. So it caused a bit of like mass hysteria, kind of like War of the Worlds when that first came out on the radio. It was like that.
I think I heard about this Ghost Watch thing.
Yeah.
You said it was on the BBC or
Yeah, the BBC. I think that's where it premiered first, in the mid '90s, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
that sounds really cool. I might watch that
you,
sometime.
yeah, you should definitely check it out. I think it's only like you can rent it for like $2 on Amazon. So if you're interested, check it out. Me and my wife, we stumbled upon it a few years ago on a streaming service called Shudder. We were watching. We just decided to put it on because we're in that phase of like the found footage mockumentary style horror stuff. So we put it on and we were pleasantly surprised. It was really good.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
So, what are you doing
Yeah.
for Halloween this year? Anything fun or special?
I don't usually like do a lot of stuff for Halloween, honestly. Um, what I might watch? Honestly, I might rewatch some of the Saw movies because it's been a few years.
Yeah, I tried rewatching the first Saw a few years back, and I gotta say, I remember enjoying it for what it was when I
It's
watched it.
definitely a little overhyped, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I thought it was
I like it, but it's more like in the seven kind of like Silence of the Lambs kind of vein, in my opinion, than like Evil Dead or something, which it was kind of like being compared with.
yeah, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's definitely more of a psychological thriller. I just thought that the there to me horror movies swing two ways. It's like you get the really really good horror movies that have like great acting, a great cinematography and everything, and then you have the really dumb B-rated ones like Evil Dead 2, for example, where it's like poor acting but it's all schlock and it's all shtick and it's supposed to be like that. I like both those genres, but then you have movies like Saw and a lot of the paranormal films that come out where they try to put like serious acting into the film. They try to like bleed their heart out, but it's just a poor script and poor cinematography that just doesn't land correctly.
Yeah, I feel like the first Saw is really strong,
Hmm.
but especially by like the third or fourth one, it's definitely just like
Yeah, the thing that I will give the Saw movies is that like every time I watch them, or I haven't watched one in a while, but when I used to watch them, the traps that they make in the movies get like more and more eloquent.
oh
So
yeah.
I give it that. Like I really appreciate that. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, most of the Saw movies, it's just like, do you want to watch a guy get torn in half? This is for
Yeah.
you.
It's
So
like, and how? Here's like all the different ones. Have you
yeah,
ever watched there's a movie called The Collector?
I heard about that one. It's like kind of in the same vein as Saw, from what I understand.
Yeah, and honestly, the trap scenes in it are like kind of like so detailed, it's like insane. Like
Yeah.
just the level of like complicated like parts and stuff that they show, it's like wild.
Absolutely. Well, I find it interesting because then, like, those movies don't normally bug me that much. I watch them, I'm just like, oh, yeah, this is like, traditional American gore in horror. But we sat down and we did a Halloween bucket, basically, right? So we got a glass jar, we wrote movies on popsicle sticks, and then we were just drawing the movies that we wanted to watch, my wife and I. And for one of them, I wrote down Audition. You ever watch that one?
Um, no, but my friend talks about it a lot.
It's a great one. It's directed by Takashi Miyake, and I think it was released again. It's one of those mid '90s movies or late '90s. I can't remember correctly, but uh, there are two films that I can recall that really, really made me cringe, right? And that's one of them because at the end there's this big old torture sequence, and as you would think that like it'd be bloody and gory, and it's a little bloody, not the most terrifyingly gory one out there, but the way they do it just made me cringe because I don't want to spoil it for you. Just go out and watch it, and you'll see what I mean. Because there's that one, and the only other film that ever really made me squirm was what was it called? Hobo with a Shotgun. It's a B-rated schlocky film, and basically at one point this girl gets her arm chopped off, and she has to dig like a sewer manhole out, so she uses the bone from her arm to do so. And it's a really, really gory film, but I when that happened, I just squirmed in my seat pretty hard. So, you ever have one of those
Yeah.
moments while watching a
Um,
horror movie where you just squirm in your seat, can't stand it?
I don't know about like a specific moment off the top of my head, but like the kind of stuff that really gets me is like definitely like just bones breaking and it's like sticking
Okay.
out or
Oh,
something.
really?
Like I could watch people just be sliced to pieces and blown up forever, but like
Bones
as soon as
breaking.
it's like it's too real.
Yeah. I get that because it's just like, especially in like horror movies, they always try to like zoom in on it, and then you just really get the huge crunch in the audio
Yeah.
mixing. So that does it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really think.
Honestly, weirdly enough, it's not even like horror movies where that happens and it like really makes me cringe.
Yeah.
I think the last time was like Get Me to the Greek.
Okay, that's a comedy movie, isn't it?
Yeah, but he like jumps off like a building at the end and freaking breaks his leg and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's
Yeah, I think that happened in.
so gross."
There was another something else like that in. I think it was the Dark Knight. I want to say where he throws one of the mob bosses off the buildings. And like he lands, and you just hear the crunch from the foot like slamming
Yeah.
into the pavement. It's like I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna hurt you real bad.
Yeah. Those movies were like so intense when I was little, but we were watching them so much for some reason.
Yeah, nah, I watched there was a lot of movies, and I think I mentioned this previously in the podcast, but there was a lot of movies that I watched when I was a kid that I shouldn't have been. Like when I was 5, my dad was just like, "Hey son, you want to watch Scarface? Here you go," you know?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, probably for me, that thing with the bones definitely probably goes back to this time when I was little and
Yeah.
I was going through movies and I put on The Fly, the 80s one,
Okay, with Jeff
and
Goldblum.
it has that part where they're like arm wrestling and the dude's arm like
Oh yeah,
splits in
yeah,
half.
yeah. I know what you're talking
I
about.
saw that when I was like 5 or 6. God.
Yeah, I actually don't like arm wrestling because like a lot of guys tell me that I'm a bigger dude, right? So a group of guys they'll get together every once in a while, and in the lunchroom they'll just like start arm wrestling each other, right? And I'll do it every once in a while, right? But most of the time, like anymore, they're just like, "Yo, Steve, we're arm wrestling. You want to join?" I'm like, "No, I don't," and it's because I've seen that, and I've also just seen like so many like shorts on YouTube where like two guys are arm wrestling and that actually happens. Like you just see the whole entire arm snap. I'm just like, oof, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's so dangerous for no reason.
Yeah, it's the same reason why like at the gym, like I'll do regular curls and whatnot, but there's also things called preacher curls where you set the bar at an angle and you're curling up. And I've seen so many times where some people are doing that and all of a sudden their bicep just tears up. And because of that, I refuse to do preacher curls. I can't do it anymore because I've seen it like happen once or twice, and I'm so afraid of it now.
Oh my God,
So
I've
it's
never heard of that. That sounds
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah. Don't look it up. It looks awful. It looks terrifying, and just the pain is just. Ugh. Can't do it. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh jeez. All right, let's move off horrific topics now. And actually, one of the questions that I've always wanted to ask you that I never got to your band used to be a different name and you changed it to Sister Cell. What was the change in it, and why was it there?
Yeah, originally it was called Null Cell, which is it's like a type of I guess like a type of white blood cell, if I remember correctly. It like fights cancer specifically, I think. Anyway, so that was it. I thought it was really cool because it was a real term
Okay.
and also just sounded cool and it looked cool when I
Hmm.
write it. But there was a little bit of drama with somebody with a similar name, and it made me super sad because they like stopped talking to me for a really long time.
Wow.
And yeah, and also there's just like so many bands in industrial that have Noel in the title, so I was just like,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like it's early enough in my music that it'll be fine.
Okay.
So I changed it. Sister Cell is like it it kind of fits in with the changing because like when a cell splits, you get two sister cells. So when a cell gives birth, like when a cell dies, that's what you get.
Gotcha.
So I thought it was like, yeah, the null cell is splitting and
I gotcha. I mean, honestly,
kind of.
I kind of like this title a bit more than Null Cell because I will agree with you when you said that there's so many industrial bands with either Null, and I've also seen a ton with Cell in it as well. So
Yeah.
I remember
Plus,
when I first started covering Null Cell, I was constantly getting confused between like you Null Device, there's Cell Dweller, there's Cell this,
yeah,
Cell
there's
that.
like, oh my
So
God, so many.
but eventually,
Yeah.
like when you changed it, I was just like, oh, now I know who this exactly is.
Yeah. And I don't know, I like it better because it has alliteration and
Yeah,
I'm super big into alliteration.
I got you. And I think we also jumped the gun a little bit here. So for those that don't know who Sister Cell is, explain the project to us.
Oh yeah, Sister Cell, that is me, kind of. Sometimes it's other people that help, but mainly just me, and it's I guess I would say like mostly like late 80s, early 90s, like industrial rock mixed with electro industrial and stuff like that.
Now, when you made the transition from Null Cell to Sister Cell as well, going back to that topic, did you change the way you wrote your music? Did you change genres or styles or anything like that, or was it still the same project, just a different name? Generally
I'd say
speaking.
that, yeah, I'd say that generally I decided to focus a little bit more on just having like a consistent, more focused sound.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, mostly just the same thing.
Gotcha. And another question that I have for you is, you we've had on Brutal Resonance Records, we've had you remix a couple of our artists in the past, and what's shocking is that you can get those remixes done in like 2 days, sometimes not even. Sometimes it's within 24 hours. What is your songwriting process like then in that regard? Do you find remixes easier than original songs?
Yeah, in some sense, I like remixing just because I can get it done so fast. Just because, like, I feel like the way I work on music is like I just get a lot of things down and
Hmm.
then I kind of take a break for a while and then I like kind of start remixing my own thing.
Okay,
So like that's kind of already how I work on stuff. Is like I do like a big kind of sweep of changes and then take a break. Yeah.
gotcha.
So I don't know, that just it works better for me because it's already mostly there and
Hmm. So basically, the reason why remixes are so easy for you is because you remix your own material. So when you get a complete song, you're just like, "Oh, I got it," and you just go with the flow.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. And do you ever find it difficult to remix another artist, or is it just kind of like flow out?
Honestly, coincidentally, I'm wearing a Sturm Cafe shirt.
Okay.
Um, they're really awesome. I
Hmm.
asked if I could do a remix one time, and I don't know, I just loved the song so much. it was like I couldn't even think of anything to do.
Gotcha.
So I literally just had it like on my computer and I would open it like every single week for like 2 months. But it was just like impossible. They're too
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So, I mean, Sturm Cafe is legendary in the scene, so it's interesting. And were you ever able to conquer that, or did it just kind of like sit in your computer?
He, um, one of the guys did ask me if I would do a remix for their new album.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't picked a song, but I feel like I'll do a lot better this time, hopefully. Just
Gotcha.
because, I don't know, I've been working on music longer and stuff.
Gotcha. And how long have you been a music producer? Would you say? When did you pick it up?
Um, it depends on how you define that. When I started, I was doing like vaporwave and like plunderphonics
Oh,
stuff.
really?
Yeah, in like 2016, I would say. But I didn't start making like actual music, like actual music,
Actual
like stuff
music.
that
Va-
requires like programming and stuff.
vaporwave isn't music.
Eh, Listen, I could go all day about vaporwave because I kind of love and hate it. I
Yeah.
was kind of like, I spent a lot of time in the scene
Yeah.
back then, but definitely kind of super amateur.
Yeah, I always
Well,
found vaporwave. I love the aesthetics because it takes like that, the '90s Windows media and stuff like that, and like flows with it. But it's very hard for me to find a vaporwave act that I actually enjoy. That's the difference, I think.
yeah, I don't really listen to it as much lately because I'd rather just like listen to 80s music or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like the really good stuff is like, in my opinion, like Iacon.
Mm-hmm.
That's IACON.
Yeah. No, I
They're one of my favoriteest of all time.
okay. I'll have to
They
check them out.
what really got me excited when I first heard it was that they would take songs, slow them down and like remix them, but then like add like new beat drums basically.
Okay.
Like like kind of like arena rock drums and like clubby hats and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really cool the way they would like chop up the songs and add drums over it was like really awesome in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that like got me interested in doing more programming with vaporwave. And so from there I kind of got more into like making house.
Okay.
And then from there, kind of more into industrial, but I didn't start like doing industrial till like 2018. So that's about when I would say I started, in my opinion, just because like that's when I really got into like trying to do programming and like actually mixing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody has to start somewhere, and if it wasn't a vaporwave artist breaking down other songs, it would have been someone else. So, um, but yeah, no, I haven't spent too much time in the vaporwave scene, and I never even heard of Iacon, so I'm gonna have to look them up after this and see what they're all about.
Definitely listen to their first three albums. They're so good.
Gotcha. Um, moving onward now. You on Brutal Resonance Records, of course. This is a bit of a self plug here, but you mastered the new Decent News release as well. So is this something new that you're starting to branch into, is mastering albums, or is it something you've been doing with your own material?
Honestly, with my own music, I don't really like master it that much
Mm-hmm.
because it's like built in,
Okay.
like to the process. Like I kind of have my own preset that I use for like everything, and
Okay.
then like I basically change the mixing under that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I don't like mix other people that much. So definitely something I'm trying to get more into. I mixed and mastered the last decent news thing, I think. Yeah, I think it was in like 2021.
Okay,
That was the last thing I did for reference.
gotcha.
Was whenever their last EP was. But yeah, definitely I want to get better at that.
Yeah. And
So I just
how's that process going for you then? Are you finding this an easier process to get through, or is it kind of like something that you're learning your to walk through right now?
um, it's definitely a different process, I would say. I don't know if it's like easier or harder necessarily yet. But it's definitely fun
Hmm.
just learning more about that aspect
Yeah.
to
At least you're
reincorporate into my own stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. At least you're taking it gradually. I know with this.
Mhm.
There's a couple of bands in the scene or artists who release like one album and automatically start offering their mixing and
Yeah.
mastering services. And I remember I came across this one band. They were terrible, and I'm not going to name call because I don't like to name and shame too much unless it's that urgent. But awful stuff, right? And they started putting their rates out online, and everybody just started calling them out on it. It's like, look, you can't even mix and master your own shit. Stop offering this. And
Yeah.
they were doing stuff like, hey, we can mix and master your material. Hey, we could do vocal collaborations. Hey, we could do your beats for you. And everybody's just like, nah, that's not happening. You should need to take this shit down. So they got railroaded
Yeah.
pretty hard.
Um, yeah, that was definitely like a few years ago. I probably would have done something like
Hmm.
that. Like, I feel like maybe like last year I had something up on Fiverr for a little bit, but I was like, I'm just gonna work on like honing the craft for a little longer.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, all right, and in more recent news, you also are working on a new album as well. So, can we get a little bit of detail on that, if there is any?
Yeah, it was I've been working on it for most of the year. Um it was gonna be an EP up until like literally just recently. Um but right now I'm looking at like 10 tracks
Hmm.
ish. Like 9 to 10. I kind of want to keep it slim and to the point.
Yeah,
And really just work on making sure every single track is as good as it could like possibly be.
gotcha. And
But
what's the overall theme of this album? Do you have one, or is it kind of just like individual songs?
mm, I'd say like overall the theme is just like it's kind of about like releasing like your demons as generic as that sounds.
Gotcha.
It's called Exorcist.
Hmm.
It's basically about just killing all of the sort of vengeful spirits that sort of haunt you.
Gotcha. So, is this a therapeutic album for you?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Gotcha. And when do you think? Or actually, first question is, do you have a title for it yet? Is it work in progress?
Yeah, definitely. It's the instrumentals are mostly done.
Hmm.
I'm mainly working on the lyrics right now. Yeah, it's called Exorcist. Well, the full title is going to be Sister Self for Exorcist. And so, I'm really excited about that.
Gotcha.
Especially working on album.
All right. We're nearing the end of the interview. I'm glad we heard about the new album. When can we expect that to be out? I think we had a very small chat before this interview began. You said you plan on having it out in the next couple of months, right?
Yeah, probably. It's probably going to be done either in November or early December and should be out shortly thereafter unless I do it on an album or on a record label.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good to me. Before we head out, I always like to give you the microphone for the last segment in case you want to state anything else or if there's anything that I may have failed to mention.
I would say just stream a decent news new single, please. It's called um God damn it.
It's pushed away slash the
Pushed
clutch.
away slash the clutch. Yeah.
There you go.
It's so good. Oh my god. It's so heavy. You will like it no matter who you are. I guarantee. Even if you don't even like metal. And also watch Jujutsu Kaisen. The new season is coming out.
All right, Isabella, I'm going to thank you for your time. Everybody go watch Jujutsu Kaisen, if that's the proper name for it, and we'll see you next time.